Welcome to the Root of It All podcast with Tree, where you will learn new habits for human betterment. We talk about all things related to personal growth, and everything is on the table. Each episode will explore different topics like self-care, mindfulness, goal setting, and more, with a focus on practical tips and actionable advice you can start implementing in your life today. Our goal is to help you become the best version of yourself and live a more meaningful life. So grab a drink, cozy up, take your dog for a walk, or go for a drive. Join us for some fun and meaningful conversations with some amazing humans. Let's grow together. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Root of It All podcast with Tree. And today, once again, I have a returning guest, my first returning person, which is Sunny from Bounce 102.
No, I have to interrupt you now.
Okay.
Because we are not Bounce 1029.
Oh.
We are Legend 1029.
Oh, okay.
Right. So a lot of people, if I can
tell
just,
us about that.
I'm going to tell you about this.
Yeah.
What has happened is our radio station is the same station, but we were recently bought by an all-Canadian group, White Oaks Communications, and we became Legends 1029. We were owned by Bell, and
Okay.
Bell owns the rights to Bounce. So we became Legend 1029. So
Okay.
still the same station, saying, Sunny and Hayes in the morning, Darren in the afternoon, Taylor's on at night. So it's all the same thing, but just we're now Legend. I kind of like Legend better. What do you think?
I like Legend as well.
Yeah.
And hey, you've heard it here first,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's brand new. Yeah. It's been 4 weeks, but I mean, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's great local radio. So there you
Awesome.
go. Yeah.
And it's almost like a segue into the conversation that we want to have with everybody about relationships, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
how do you feel that maybe some relationships changed because of the change that's happening in the industry almost?
Well, you know what? I think that, my husband used to always say all the time, and I used to say, like, what are you talking about? But it's taken me a while to realize he's so right. He used to always say, change is good, and it makes things better. And I used to think, no, because we get stuck in a sort of a situation and think it's always going to be that way. But I look at that even with friendships, I had a little talk with you earlier until I got together with a girlfriend of mine that, when people say to you, my very best friend, I haven't seen her a long time, and we keep in touch, but we don't get together. And finally you get together with this person. And this happened to me recently. And I thought, I've loved this girl so much. She's been such a close friend in my life. And it took us almost 33 years to get together and go away on a trip.
Oh,
And we
wow.
kept saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do
Yeah.
this. And we'd work together in different areas of our, radio careers and stuff like that. So when radio was changing, she was changing as well. And she's now a journalist and moved into another field. But, you always say, I'm going to stay in contact. We're going to be great friends forever. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to see each other, but the relationship has to evolve because we do change to an extent.
Yeah, absolutely, we change. Yeah, and it's an interesting thing too, because a lot of people, when they choose to make a change in their life, even I see this in weight loss clients or even people that stop smoking, that all of a sudden the people that they were hanging out with has to change because they're no longer hanging out with the smokers at work. Or maybe the people that are losing weight, they're picking different activities, so they're meeting new people. And so relationships change all the time. And I love what you're talking about with this gal that you went out with and you knew her for 30 years and then you finally
Can you believe that?
so what do you think, why do you think that is?
Well, and we talked about it because she and I had, like, she's been, we've had all kinds of personal things happen in our lives, and she's been with me, on the conversations and that sort of stuff through all of those. And she's had, some big life-changing experiences too. Now, she had gotten married not too long ago. The end result was a wonderful son that she has, but their marriage went a different direction. And so did her life. Things started to really change. And I think when big life decisions happen like that, it does affect your friendships to an extent. You mentioned a really good point about weight loss. I think everybody, well, I don't want to say everybody, but I'm in that age group when you run into somebody and go, oh my gosh, you've lost that weight. You look fantastic. And they do change in that, yeah, they look different, but they change the people they hang around with only because, like you said, interests change, everything changes about it.
Yeah.
And she and I couldn't really figure out why we had taken this long. The only thing we could figure out is the fact that she's in Vancouver now and we're not close. But it's kind of a poor excuse when you say we can't get together because you live so far away, because you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, yeah, you can. I mean, I'm sure everybody that's listening to this has relatives that are in either a different province or country. Like my brother is out in Vancouver, but we make sure that at least once every other year that we're planning a vacation with both of our families, like our, and so it's about, I think, making it happen, taking the initiative and stepping out of your comfort zone. Because I think too, sometimes people can get in imposter syndrome and think like, oh, maybe they don't like me as much, or so they may be in fear of actually putting out there, hey, let's go away on vacation together.
That now I'm going to switch this around. I'm going to
Yeah,
ask you
yeah,
this
yeah.
because I think this is going on when you say the imposter syndrome, and you brought up a good point about when a good friend decides to lose weight and change themselves physically, or you've got a bunch of girlfriends that are all single and don't have a significant other, and one of them in that particular group suddenly meets someone, and so the other
Mm-hmm.
ones all say, "Oh, that's so awful. She's changed. She's not the same person." But has she? Why
What?
does it destroy all the friendship?
Well, and so yeah, so let me answer that. So
Yeah.
so when it comes from a human behavior perspective, that say, for example, let's do the example of like say there's four girls,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And they're all like best friends. Maybe they go to cottage a couple times a year and they do all the things together. Well, we as humans, we have our natural state of patterns, and we have the patterns that consistently happen, and it makes us feel safe.
Yeah.
So if there's four girls, they all have their own patterns. They've been hanging out for years, probably. So they have their inside jokes. They have like every time they go to the cottage, everybody brings something specific. So it makes everything safe. All of a sudden, one girl meets somebody and is in a good relationship where the conversation that they would probably have, they had all the same pain points, right? Can't
Yes,
meet
exactly.
somebody, dating. So then now the conversation changes, and this one could feel like an outsider. She can feel guilty because she met somebody, and these other three girls who she loves and cares about didn't. So, and I've seen people actually sabotage a great relationship because of the guilt that they had with these friends.
You know what? I've seen it too. Isn't
Yeah.
that weird? Why
Hmm.
are we,
Not on purpose.
yeah, why
Yeah.
does that happen? It's like, I don't understand. And I'll be the first. And listen, ladies, I'm being really honest. I know that when you see a friend you haven't seen in a long time and you look at them and they go, wow, they lost all this weight. They look great. And you're just, oh, I'm so happy for you. Meanwhile, you're thinking, no, I'm not because I wanted to be like that.
Yeah, that's actually a huge thing.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of clients that they came in to lose like 80 to 100 pounds.
Yeah.
And then so they lose 50, and all of a sudden they're the smallest in their friend group.
Okay.
So all of a sudden they're like wanting to give away their clothes because they don't fit into it anymore. And the friends are like, "Oh, you look great. Oh, you can have that piece of cake. Oh, you've done so great. You can have that extra slice of pizza." Right?
Yeah.
So they're not on purpose, but it's a nervous system thing that they're sabotaging the person that actually is doing well.
You know, I often wonder, especially with that group of gals, when someone, I use the example of meeting someone, but when something really good happens to them, it's not that you're jealous or mad or angry, but to some extent, I don't know what it is with us, why we can't be happy. You're happy for them, but maybe you're just so envious that you didn't get there or you
Hmm.
didn't get that, that extra friend or whatever it is that happens to be in that situation. It just naturally sort of, it doesn't come from a bad place,
No.
but I don't know why.
Well,
Uh,
but it's interesting because remember when you just got here today and you're like, did you hear about Jennifer Aniston?
yeah,
And she's dating a hypnotist,
yeah,
right? Where a lot of people will make fun of it, or because they'll be jealous, maybe because people had a crush on Jennifer Aniston, whether it's a female or male, even if the female is straight, they could still feel connected to Jennifer Aniston. But now if she's taken, it changes the dynamics. Even people don't even know that whatever the celebrity is
yeah,
in whom they sort of connect with in a way, as we all do.
yeah.
And so there's still that envy and a little bit of jealousy, or when somebody finally gets married, it's like, oh, right? Not that they had a
Exactly.
chance in the first place.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? Yeah, you always think, Brad Pitt was looking for me. I know he was. I don't know why he ended up with her. And you just, I don't even know how or why we get into that space. And I think we're naturally happy for each other. But in terms of the friendships and really the close ones that I always think, we spend so much time doing things, not things that we don't necessarily want to do, but
Mhm.
in our workspace or in our time at work, there's certain things you have to do socially. And after you do these things, you always say, well, I had to do that with a bunch of people I really didn't know. And you
Yeah.
want the rest of your time to be with the people you love being with, but
Mhm.
you don't even do that sometimes,
Yeah, and
you
I
know?
think I think what it is too is that we have a perception in our mind of there's two sides. There's one thing we need we have to have our needs met.
Yeah.
And then the other side is when we end up in either guilt or shame, right? So we either feel guilty because we feel like, oh, we should be hanging out with these people at work. Oh, I should go and support this person at work, even though you might not actually have a direct relationship with them. So it's like we flip-flop into what we think society expects from us
Okay.
and what we actually need, right?
Okay.
So look at it as golf. Like how many times have you done 18 holes and after the first nine you're just like, oh, I want to get out of here, but you didn't want to leave the fourth one,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
Like so you were in guilt, and that's happened to me as well too, right? Either it's too cold sometimes or
And you get yourself in that situation. Now, I
Mhm.
have something that happened to me it was about 2 or 3 months ago with a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it's funny when you get these kind of eye-opening experiences. And I've got, and not that I have my friends in categories, but there's certain friends that I hang out when I go to the gym or certain ones, because, I've got them like little pockets of friends here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, I'm the same.
You
It's
had that where you,
because
yeah.
they're into this or into that.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a couple girls that I hang out and do things with, and one of them in particular, it was weird because there was one day we were talking about relationships. There was something going on in her life, and she had kind of confided in me. And I said okay, and gave her some advice. And I had a situation where the next day I said to her, "Is everything okay?" or whatever, and she seemed very agitated and upset.
Oh.
And so I thought, what's going on? So when we got out of a place that wasn't so public, I said, "Is everything okay?" And she sort of kind of like the wheels fell off. She just got really, really angry. I know
Oh.
she didn't mean it, but the very next day pretended it didn't happen and it wasn't addressed. And I'm the kind of person in situations like that.
Mhm.
Okay, you don't have to apologize, but at least explain yourself.
Yeah.
So it's made me kind of take a step back and say, and what I do is I analyze and overanalyze. What did I do? How could I mean you told me about a situation that was
Mhm.
upsetting you. All I merely said was, is everything okay?
Mhm.
Now I didn't know what was going on prior to that. Something
How could
caused.
how could you even
That's
know?
right.
Yeah, how
So
could
why
you
are
even
you,
know?
yeah, so why are you
Mhm.
doing that? But it was never so um we've we went back to like doing the same, we all hang out and do the same thing. She pretends it never happened. But
Mhm.
that sort of bothers me, and I
Mhm.
can't, like, I know that I've pulled back quite a bit because it really upset me.
Mhm.
So I kept thinking to myself, do I approach this person? But then I thought the way it was handled and the way she handled the situation, I should just let it go because she didn't seem herself when she did it. And maybe we should just start from, you know, square one or whatever. But I've
Mhm.
known her for years.
Well, and the interesting thing is this happens probably to almost everybody,
Yeah.
right? And the thing with us as humans is that with any situation, we there is over a million bits of information all around us. So
Mhm.
here we are, we're recording this, but beyond this, there's like the rest of the room, there's things on the walls, there's like, we're looking at this screen, it's on the laptop and all this stuff, but um, we can only take in 150 bits of information. So when people's personalities sort of flip, right?
Right.
That sometimes people don't realize that that's what's happened because we also delete, distort, and generalize the information. So here there's 1 million bits of information. We're only taking in 150 bits of that.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then out of the 150 bits, we're deleting, distorting, and generalizing. So an example for this would be say 10,000 people went to a concert.
Okay.
Okay. All 10,000 people saw or were in the same space as the same thing was going on. Where if each one of them got interviewed, everyone would have a different explanation or experience of how it is that they connected with the music or the artist or the people around them. So even this particular situation that you're saying, she may not have realized that she was short with you or changed her personality. Maybe she was hot, maybe she had digestion issues, maybe there's something physical going on with her body and she was trying to hide it. Um, so when things like this happen, sometimes it's better to just let it go.
Okay,
If
so you don't think, I mean, quite a bit of time has passed now. It's probably been two,
yeah,
3 months.
either talk about it right in the moment.
Okay, so you say at that point, yeah. Because
Yeah.
is there a time period for that where you go, okay, but coming from my Italian origins, we dwell and dwell and dwell. That's why I can think of every so often when I see her, I think, oh, I'm going to tell her about it right now. What happened that day? And it's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
gone. Sonny, get over it. It's over.
Well, and also, so with us as humans, we remember the most heightened state of emotion.
Yeah,
So each person that we meet will always remember the heightened state of emotion that that person put you in. And that's what you'll always remember every time you see her until you have a newer experience that has a higher state of emotion. So, say, for example, you and her went out for a couple drinks and something hilarious happened and you killed yourself laughing, that would then trump that last experience.
yeah. Maybe that's the thing that I got to look for. And we haven't run into each other in a while, and I may see her in the next couple of weeks. And there's been enough space, and I thought maybe
Hmm.
because she's been working different shifts and stuff, and I thought maybe the time away has been a good thing would be a good thing. And so maybe
Hmm.
when you get back together, not seeing each other as friends in a while, you can sort of start fresh, maybe.
Yeah, and the thing is when we overanalyze things in our own mind, it's just stuff that you're trying to create, any human being.
Yeah,
And the truth is we all do it.
yeah,
We all, oh, what was that? Or why was that? Or maybe I should do this. But the truth is we have no idea what's going on. And the deeper truth is the person most of the time has no idea what's going on.
well, and I think that's what with most people with friendships, I guess we have to realize when you say they're my best friends or I know everything about them, you really don't know everything. Because
No.
I knew this particular person for quite a few years.
Hmm.
When that sort of situation happened and she got really angry at me, I'd never seen that side of this person. So
Hmm.
it was so shocking to me.
Hmm.
It was just the tone of her voice. And I thought, I don't know where this is coming from, you know?
And even when people change their tone,
Yeah.
it could be like we all get triggered by things. So she could have maybe saw something, or maybe a specific wording that you said triggered her from something that happened in her past that she has no idea about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's us as humans, we are so complex. And if we're taking everybody at just a behavior point of view, then obviously if she does that all the time, like if you meet her every instance and she's like that all the time, then you'd probably question the friendship, or you definitely talk to her, or maybe there's something cognitive going on, or who knows. But it's interesting, like my business partner, she always laughs at me because I always step into anytime I see somebody, whether they're a great friend, whether they're an acquaintance, but I'm always looking at how do I want this relationship to go? How do I want this interaction to go? And then I'll get myself in the mood of that. And no matter what happens, I'll always just um I forget exactly how she put it, but she put it so elegantly that, and I've never thought that I do that, and I
Yeah.
don't even think about doing that, but it's just the way I've always been, that I always go into relationships just putting it in the direction of where I want to go. So I pick the mood, I pick the things, and I decide where I want that relationship to go. And it's even from like a boundaries point of view too.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've never even thought of it that way. I think with me, what I've come to as I've gotten older, and I said it one morning to Matt, who I co-host the show with. I used to always say Matt was my best girlfriend because we're in the
Yeah,
we're in a
yeah.
studio together, and
You're in the booth.
we're in the booth together, and you become very close friends with.
Yeah.
And so it's funny. Yeah, I remember saying to him one morning, at this stage of my life. It's not that when I think Matt and our popularity is very much based on the fact that we share stories. We don't make them up. This is our life. Like sometimes
Yeah.
I'll come into work and Matt loves to bring it to everybody's attention. I'll walk in and go, "You won't believe what happened to me yesterday," and we share it with everybody. And I've realized I love meeting people. I love being a part of people's lives, but in this broadcaster role that I have, when I'm out in public, everybody, I may talk to them for like 2 minutes and they'll tell everybody, Oh, I know Sunny Genesco. She is my best, closest friend. I've talked to them for just a
Yeah.
few moments. It's
Hmm.
funny the effect that just a little bit of that conversation has. So even in that short time, they've already made their minds up. So I
Hmm.
said to Matt one morning, I reached that point where not that I've ever hid anything, but if somebody's telling me something and wants an honest opinion, or they're saying something I don't necessarily agree with, I'm not that person who sits in the corner and doesn't say anything. I'm going to tell them how I feel, not hurt them in any way. I find a
Yeah.
delicate way of saying it,
Hmm.
but I'm going to be more
Yeah, just
assertive that way, like
put it on the table.
yes, I'm going to be,
Yeah, that's
I'm
the
doing more
best
of that
thing to
putting it
do.
on the table thing,
Yep.
so and I think maybe it's because these are the times that we're in, because there's so many things going on, and it's not like trying to create uncomfortable situations, but you also want to be yourself. So if somebody
Hmm.
says, I really love this stuff, well, I don't necessarily like that stuff myself, so I'm going to be forward about it, but in a more, that's where I might be a little bit, like you say, you always pick your situation. I find a way to say things, not to hurt someone, but if I don't necessarily agree with that particular topic, so it doesn't go any further, I try to find a way that makes sense, that's delicate, without hurting everybody.
Hmm.
Because there are a lot of topics out there now that can create a lot of controversy,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know?
Absolutely. Like, even if you look at some of the older television shows, imagine that they came out now.
Oh, I know,
They
exactly.
would not, they would not
Exactly.
fly.
Well, another thing to ask you too, Tree, what do you do in a situation you've had friends for a long time and you
Hmm.
find out, like, I mean, they always say don't ever talk about politics or religion with
Hmm.
people, but now you get into situations where people are almost picking, the sides and things they agree with. And all of a sudden you find out that a longtime friend of yours is very interested in maybe a form of politics you don't agree with at all. What
Hmm.
happens in situations like that?
Yeah, well, a lot of that happened to me during COVID, whether like about the vaccinations.
Oh, there you go. There's
Like,
a prime example.
yeah, so
Yes.
whether people were getting vaccinated or not. And it's really about just respecting the person. And even if the person is trying to um, lobby you in their
Yeah,
direction,
exactly.
then it's more about letting them know how much you love and care about them. And just that you respect their decision and that you respect them respecting your decision. So you kind of like lay it out like that because there's nothing else to say. Except same with any kind of disagreement at all. It's a mature relationship is about respecting the other person's opinion and still caring about them.
The other thing too, we're in the
Yeah.
media business. Not I'm in, not just me, but I mean, you look on Facebook, Instagram,
Mm.
whatever form that you're sort of
Hmm.
making your opinions. That's where you end up really getting eye-opening experiences. Because I've seen people that
Mm.
I know, and I go, "Oh wow, I did never knew they felt this way." So, go ahead and say how you feel. I'm all for that. But remember, when you put it out there,
It's out there.
yes,
It's out there.
100%.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad like you and I both. I grew up with no cell phone, so all the crazy crap that
See,
I got in like
yeah,
20s and 30s,
yeah,
it's like there's no pictures out there. There's nothing online about it. Like,
exactly, yeah.
yeah, and I think
Well,
it was an easier time.
I'm thinking about this, a couple of stories, because Matt and I this morning were talking about it. It was about a former Hamilton Bulldog hockey player who was playing
Mm.
golf in Alberta.
Hmm.
It went viral because, again, they're out on the golf course. It's a hot day. The foursome in front of these former hockey players. They've had a bit to drink. They were slowing down all of their play, and so the guys said, "Could you please speed it up?" Well, it went from a small conversation to a lot of yelling, and so somebody starts filming it and they're beating each other up, or somebody threw somebody in the creek. So
Oh
it
my
goes
gosh.
into this, and it's all on film.
Yeah.
So you can't say, I never did that. Yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
Wow.
So, I'm not saying you got to watch your every move in public. But again, when you post things, when you decide to do something that everyone's going to see,
Hmm.
be careful, because you can't say, no, I didn't do it, because you did.
And then the other side of that, because I just saw something online that a friend posted, and it was like, you know how Marketplace you can go and you
Yeah.
can pick something up. So they had a camera on their doorbell kind of thing.
Yes, I have that.
Yeah,
Yes, I
and
have one of those.
so they had this guy coming by to purchase these shoes. So
Okay.
they left the shoes on the front porch, and if the
Okay.
guy was going to take them, then he could take them and just leave the money or do any money transfer, whatever the
Right. Yeah.
whatever it was. But the camera picked the guy putting the shoes on, jumping up and down in the shoes, running across the front lawn and back like 5 or 6 times, jumping back, running on the spot. Like it was hilarious.
Oh my God.
So,
Did he buy them though?
I guess I
Yeah.
guess so. I didn't actually watch it till all the way to the end. I just thought like, oh my God, this is hilarious. So the double-edged sword is that we're being able to share beautiful things. Like even my niece's graduation. Like she's all the way up in Sault Ste. Marie, and I couldn't be there,
Right.
obviously. And but they had it all on video.
Yeah.
So no matter where you are in the world, you could watch the loved ones like get married or like so I think it's a double-edged sword and um I really do believe that us as humans, we need to get out and have the balance of being with people, right?
Yeah, you know what? I can't tell you. I mean, COVID had such an effect on so many people, and I have friends that uh,
Hmm.
are so in that sort of I'm never going out sort of mode and not
Oh,
socializing.
really?
And I think that too.
Oh, wow.
There's also people that I know that have said again, if it works for you, okay, that you can work from home. But the downside of that is, I think it's made a lot of these people socially when they get out,
Hmm.
uh, hermits. They're not socializing with anybody
Yeah.
anymore. They're at home. Oh, I'm getting the job done at home. What are you getting done at home, though?
Hmm.
If it does work, I get it. But what about that social interaction?
Hmm.
Like what that so seems to have sort of,
It actually makes people more anxious. It
yeah,
makes them more stressed because there's chemically within our human body, we fire off different chemicals in our body. And I don't know the exact names of them. I'm not a doctor or I'm
yeah.
not scientific, but when we connect actually with people, that we're getting our needs met. So people, if they're ordering food from home still, or they're really segregating themselves within their home and
Right.
not actually having human interaction, they will be more stressed. They'll probably have more physical restrictions or issues with their body. All kinds of stuff will fire up because we're not meant to be alone.
Well, and I think too, um, has that helped people like couples that are together? If you're both at home day in and day out, you're both decided you're working from home and you're
Mhm.
allowed to, and I don't understand how healthy that is
Y-
for the two of you.
Yeah, I think there would have to be good boundaries. Like, you'd have to make sure that you're getting out and seeing your own people,
Yeah,
right? Like as a couple, if you're working from home, because I know a couple of couples that have a really healthy relationship that they don't actually even see each other during the day
yeah,
because they have their own office,
yeah.
but they go out and they see their own friends. Because I know myself and my husband, we're both self-employed and we are very independent people, like very independent. I think that's what brought us together because we respected how independent each other's were.
Which is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is sometimes we're like too independent and they're like, hey, how's it going? Hey,
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
but it keeps our life really interesting because both of us meet all kinds of interesting people everywhere. And so it creates a never-ending conversation ever.
Well, and with those people that he and you meet,
Hmm.
have you ever been brought together with them, or you've said, look, to your hubby that, I met these great people. I'd like to, why don't we go out to dinner? Or does it create
Hmm. Yeah,
other friendships and that sort of,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, like for example, tomorrow night, like a friend of mine, she lost her husband about 8 years ago, and I think 3 years ago she met this great guy, this like awesome guy that she is just head over heels, and he's head over heels in love with her. So it's so cool to see her in such a beautiful relationship, even because I mean she's been retired for I don't know like 10 years or something like that, but yeah, she's just so they're coming over for dinner tomorrow night and they're going to be introduced to our friend group and stuff. And then even he builds and restores race car engines.
Oh,
So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, and so coincidentally, someone in my BNI group actually works for a guy that he's mentoring, and so we're all going out for dinner in a couple weeks. So I'm getting to meet like a lot of his people. I'm the one that organizes everything, which
But see,
I love doing it too.
this explains you with your friendships, because you mentioned it earlier, your business partner said
Yeah.
it's not that you just know how to put it all together. Like you said, you've always been that way.
Mm,
Like you like
yeah.
these people are going to fit perfectly with with the group that you're going to
Yeah.
introduce them to,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense. I never think about that. Like I always but put everybody all together and hope everything's going to work out, or they'll like each other, or if I'm going to have a gathering of people, I was
Hmm.
like, oh, this will be interesting. It'll work out.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I've got some friends that say to me all the time, "Oh, you have so many friends. I'm very private. I don't have that many." Well, the bottom line is I have a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah. Yep. Me
I know
too.
the ones that are close to me.
Yep.
So you have to sort of make that
The boundary.
that's right. And you
Yep.
have to know who the friends are. And it's great to have acquaintances, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're in your life constantly, like that friend or the two or three that you have
Yep.
that are very important in your life. A guy I used to work with used to say, "Sonny, you're so obsessed with having friends. You see my hand? That's the amount of your best, the people that you're the closest to." He says, "You've got all these people, but I don't see anything wrong with that. I just
No.
know that for me, they are important to me in a different way. They're not my closest. I don't have to tell them my every little, you know,
Detail.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not
Well,
necessary."
but I think it's extremely healthy to have all kinds of people in your life because
Yeah,
then you're learning lots. Like you're having all kinds of different conversations. And again, I'm the same. Like oh my gosh, like some days I can see like 20 clients in a day, right?
yeah,
And even some clients sometimes become a little bit of a closer past acquaintance or past client. Some do, just because they're lovely. But there's different, like you said, there's different groupings,
yeah,
but to create a really strong relationship, it's time, right?
yeah, yeah.
It literally it has to take time. Like my my very best friend, we've been uh really great friends for 15 years. And before we were friends, most of my friends were just guys. I never really had like good, like I've never had like a really good like girlfriend,
Yeah,
female
yeah.
friend. Just I had very high boundaries. And so, and her and I, we have this conversation all the time because it took time. Like the first 3 years that we were hanging out, uh, we had great times and stuff like that. And then the fourth year, we brought our husbands into the fold. Um, and then the fifth or sixth year, we went traveling with our husbands, and over time, it just doesn't evolve. It evolves in the more organic way, and it has to be that way.
Isn't it interesting the way you
Hmm.
say it, like when your friends, how they move in, first your friends, then the next part of it is when you each have a relationship. The next part of it is, can I travel with them? And it's okay to
Hmm.
say, because I have traveled with a lot of my girlfriends, and there are some that I can safely say, and they probably say the same to me, great person, but I would never travel with them again. It's okay to have
Yep.
that happen.
Yep.
Instead of when they ask you again, you feel the need to say it because you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Mhm.
I would be totally honest about it. There are ways to say, you say, "Oh yeah, you just drive me nuts. I can't travel with you," because I
Mhm.
know that I'm one of these go people. And a lot of people have said to me, "Sonny, you don't sit still for 2 minutes. I could never travel with you." That doesn't upset me in any way because
Yep.
I know that's one of my little bit of a not downfall, but that's kind of the side of me that I'm trying to sit down, relax, and enjoy my life instead of sit down and think about all the million other things I want to do and keep running around and not really looking around and going, "Yeah, this is really wonderful just sitting right here."
Well, and sometimes it's even just a kinesthetic thing. Like you and I are the same. We love moving our body all the
Yeah.
time and just always going. Like even my husband and I, whenever we go on vacation, we can't do just a beach vacation. I
You're
can't.
like me. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can't sit. We have to like walk around and stuff. And my best friend, she could just sit on a beach for a week and just read a whole bunch of books. But it's actually it works out great because if it's just her and I going away, then she just stays and watches our stuff. And I'm like getting us drinks, talking to the pool guy, like just like I'm like
We need
here,
to
there.
travel together. I know it's funny how like I've got a girlfriend, like her and her husband travel all retired and in like January, February away. And she said,
Yeah.
I need a suitcase just to pack all my books. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? I'm lucky if I read 3 pages because
Yeah.
I'm so busy, making
Yep.
sandcastles with kids on the beach. Like yeah, I can
Yeah.
do that for a short period of time, but to lay on the beach and just read, not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's just not that's not me. I can't
Yeah.
do it.
And
Yeah,
my husband's the same. Like even if it's just him and I traveling, like we gotta go. Like wait, like
yeah.
so we were just over the last holidays. Uh so our last two it's like 2 trips ago, we went to Sicily, but we did all of Sicily. So we started off in like Palermo and went all the way.
Did you go to Taormina?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's, by the
I,
way, where White Lotus was filmed.
yeah,
And
that's
that's where I first learned about it. Because like
yes,
I want to live in Taormina because it's just beautiful.
it is.
Absolutely beautiful.
It is beautiful. But I actually, so if you go to Sicily again, you have to go to Ortigia.
Okay, now is that right at the bottom of the boot in
Yep.
Sicily? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the heel of the boot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's self-contained. You can walk everywhere, and the food, the restaurants. We were there over Christmas,
Yeah.
and we were like, oh, we didn't know if things would be open on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve, but everything was open. The food was fabulous, and
That's really
oh,
unusual to be
yeah,
open at Christmas, especially the Italians, because they're really big on, being open whenever they feel like being open, and having siestas and Christmas wouldn't be. Is that like a busy tourist time?
I think it was like just I think everybody in Sicily, like
Yeah.
they would go down there um eat and drink
Yeah.
and so yeah, it was really lovely. But it's interesting. So this brings up so we're talking about relationships.
Hmm.
So people that are go, 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 and part of it opposites attract,
Yeah.
and part of it you need the same a little bit of the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, because it's like even though my best friend she could like lay on the beach somewhere, but I'll just randomly call her and be like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Nothing." Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be like, "Okay, it's like either wine or I'm picking you up, taking the roof down, and we're like bombing around somewhere or whatever."
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, somebody once said to me, Sonny, when people say opposites attract, that's good to use that statement, but you have to have the things in common that
Hmm.
keep that relationship moving and going. It's great to have,
Hmm.
yeah, like we're not saying agree on every single little thing, but those very, very important elements of a relationship, there should be some.
So
Yeah,
what would be the key things for you? Like what would be your top three things that has to be for you to go on a day trip or a short vacation?
okay, for a friend, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. You have to be honest, um because I think that when you do the trips, especially with my girlfriend Marcia, when we decided to do this, we went to Prince Edward Island.
Hmm.
Prince Edward Island. We went to Prince Edward County. What am I talking about? I
Yeah.
went to Prince. She is a
You're
very,
dreaming about
yeah, I'm
Prince.
dreaming about going that. No, she's very organized. Everything had to be this, 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 this. We're going to do that. I booked this restaurant, and my sister said, "How do you feel about that?" I said, "Well, I'm all for it because she's a journalist and she's a researcher type. So I didn't have
Yeah.
any problems with that. But during the day, she knows I'm a walker and I love to walk. So she was okay with, I'm going to do my thing, you do yours. So
Mm.
be open to that. Be honest about those things. Because you know what ends up happening if you're not honest about those things? You end up having a fight. And
Yeah.
then next thing you know, the trip's over and nobody's talking to each other. And the
Yeah.
friendship, and it's ridiculous. So the honesty is important. Um, I think being spontaneous on a trip, I think
Yeah.
is really important.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, if, especially when it's two girls traveling or to be open, you're going to be set at a table. Like I'm trying to figure out how, when be open to meeting new people because
Yes.
sometimes a lot of people that I've traveled with don't want to talk to anybody. They just kind of
Oh,
want to do their own.
see that I find that odd.
Yeah,
Because
it
you're
is odd. Well,
yeah.
there's a couple of people that I've traveled with okay, that's not happening. Again, love them.
Yeah.
We're still great, great friends, but we just didn't meld that way. Especially when you decide to go on, let's say you go to Sicily and I want to do a tour. If you don't want to do it, I'll just do it on my own. But
Yeah.
we're independent that way. Maybe that's
Yeah.
part of it too. You should be independent.
Well, and feel good being independent. I
Yeah,
remember when I was probably, I just started in the fashion industry. I may have been like 22, 23, and a friend of mine, she's like, "Hey, hey, let's go to New York because they had like this big fabric trade show thing." And I was like, "Oh, New York. Yes, right? Like I'd never been." And
yeah.
I think I was like 23 years old or whatever. And so we went and like, oh my gosh, she didn't want to leave the hotel room at all. Like it was insane.
Really?
Yeah. And so I actually went to a restaurant by myself, right? Because I'm like, I'm in New York, right? And the waiter, he's like, "Oh, you're here by yourself." I said, "Yeah, blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, well, me and my friends, we got an extra ticket for this play." So I ended up getting like going to a play for free. And but I did a bunch of things, like just like
But it turned out to be okay though.
yeah, she was fine. She didn't like I'm still friends with her and everything. But for me, sense of humor, spontaneous,
Yeah.
it has to be spontaneous
Yep.
and just really open to experiences.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting because I think about my sister-in-law who's out west. She and I did a trip to Kelowna, and I remember we went to a spa, and she is one of those okay, let's get ready to go to dinner, but I'm going to go, like, we went to the spa, and then she said, well, I'm going to go up to the room because I want to read and I want to take a long hot bath. Well, I didn't want to do any of those things. After I got
Yeah.
to the spa, I wanted to go out and sit in the backyard.
Yep.
There was a little area where they had I like to have a latte in the afternoon, and she's not a coffee person at all, so she went up to the room, and
We would
I and
definitely
yeah,
travel
and
up
I went
there.
out and did my own thing and ended up talking to some guy about his life at, when I was
Yeah.
having the coffee. Again, I was quite happy
Yeah.
just to sit and look out because it was actually a beautiful view that I had.
Yeah.
And gentleman was sitting across me, an elderly gentleman. We ended up having a great conversation. And I thought, what am I going to do? Because we had gotten a great big giant sized room, but I wanted to give her privacy because it's just she likes, to pamper herself for a long period of time. She's a
Hmm.
beautiful lady. And it's one of those people, that's another when you travel with someone. It takes me 3.5 seconds to get ready to do anything at any time,
Yeah, me
even if I get
too.
dressed up.
Yep.
And I'm always with someone
Yep.
who is, I'll be ready in about 12 hours. And it's like, what are you doing? That's like, what did I do wrong here? So I'm ready to go. I'm up and going out. I'll meet you down in the lobby. And that's okay. If that's the way they want to be, that's okay with me. I'm fine. But
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like, so it's like we're making this list of like what not to do when you're
yeah,
when
yeah.
you're traveling. And so talk about Termina, that when my husband and I went, we were walking around and there was just a guy just sitting, he was having uh what's it called? The little espresso
Yeah,
when
the little cup, the little
yeah,
espresso.
the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and he was having a sandwich. He was just sitting there, just a happy guy, and we stopped to get an espresso as well, and in the afternoon, and we sat there for about an hour and a half just talking to this random guy. He was
And isn't it wonderful? Things
yeah,
like that, I like it because
yeah.
what if a friend of mine uses it, they say, he always says it's very organic when something like that happens.
Mhm.
It's out of nowhere. You meet this gentleman and he starts to have a conversation with you, and it's just a nice conversation.
Yeah, it's so lovely.
Yeah,
I now know all about this guy. Like,
yeah,
and it's so fascinating, like us as humans, of how it is that we operate when we're traveling. And I find when you meet people that you know nothing about, there's totally different stories that pop up because they're stimulating a different part of your brain because you're hearing something that you would have never heard otherwise, right? Because if you have the same people in your life and you're
exactly.
talking to the
True.
same people, then the conversations tend to be the same as well, right?
One thing that I haven't done though, Tree, that I always wish because, I mean, I'm on my own and widowed, but I love to travel. But some of the destinations I want to go to, I've got a lot of girlfriends, but maybe they don't want to do those destinations. And I've never ever, because I'm a very independent person, but
Mhm.
something I still haven't been able to do is travel alone. Now, when I'm with people, I meet people all the
Mhm.
time. I guess I don't feel like, can I do this by myself and still
Mhm.
go out somewhere and just,
Well,
you know,
they actually have like groups that you can go independently.
yeah.
So interesting, that same gal that I was talking about that I went to New York with,
Right.
as she got older, and by the time she hit 35, she never really went anywhere and she wasn't with anybody.
Okay.
So now she travels alone. And she it's organized groups.
Okay.
So
And does
you're
she enjoy that?
yeah, she
Yeah.
loves it.
I should try that because I know a lot of people who have
Mhm.
sort of done that, but it's always been you're with a bunch of people. And my sister-in-law told me about a girls group that was formed out west where they send you brochures and we're
Mhm.
going to do this big trip and it's a chance to meet a whole bunch of ladies and travel them.
Yep.
And I thought, not that I don't want to, but I still, there's a part of me that still would like to do something just me. Can I get a hotel, travel alone and try because I'm not afraid to do anything, but that is just something that I don't know.
Maybe if somebody else booked it for you and then you
Yeah,
just
maybe
went.
that would make a difference. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if yeah.
Yeah, because it's actually interesting too. So let's talk about, and then it went from relationships to travel,
Well,
which,
we're doing everything. Yeah,
but the thing
exactly.
is, oh, actually, here's a good story.
Okay.
So you learn a lot about somebody when you travel with them. So when I first met my husband, I met him on eHarmony, and this is like,
Wonder I didn't know that. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, like way, oh my gosh, I've been with him for like 20 years now.
Did you know that, like, after the first date, I have to ask right away,
Yeah.
first time you met him, did you think, like, this guy is it?
Actually, I can say that, yes. So
Okay.
actually, because when we met, the first night we went through the filters of eHarmony.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
second night we were on the phone till 4 a.m. And then I met him the third night and just I knew that there was a connection. So, but it was interesting because I met him on April 6th and on May 1st he was flying out to Hong Kong for a hockey tournament.
Oh, wow.
So after I met him for a week, I was teasing him. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Hong Kong and I'm gonna go with you." Like totally joking, totally joking. The second week, I was like, "I'm fucking going to Hong Kong." Like, and because the thing is that I could take the time off. I
Yeah.
had the money, and I was like, when am I going to get to go to Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Best thing I could have ever done because
Really? That's such
I
a
knew
great story.
I
Yeah.
knew him for 3 weeks, and I flew to Hong Kong. We had a blast, and in Hong Kong, the hotel rooms are tiny. He was for a hockey tournament, so we slept in this tiny hotel room with his hockey bag.
Oh, wow.
And with all of my shoes, and I packed way too much because we just still met, and I had so I was like,
Oh,
well,
I could have done the same thing. Yeah.
yeah, but it was the best. By the time we got back, he basically moved in with me, and the rest is
Yeah.
history.
It's
So
what a
yeah,
great story. So I get you just know. So isn't
yeah,
that interesting? There's somebody like you only met him for a few days,
yeah.
and you knew that that was it.
Well,
No?
and I want to add that the bathroom in the in the hotel room was glass encased.
Oh,
So,
man.
so, and it didn't have an actual door. It had like this sliding door, and
Oh,
the shower actually had like a curtain that went around. But it
oh
was
man.
like you think as a woman, like you wake up in the middle of the night, you got to pee, right? Or
Yeah.
like, but yeah, like it was so you get to know somebody very well.
Very quickly. And yeah. But you knew he was the one, like it's 20 years
Yeah,
plus, right? And you're still strong, which is that's a wonderful story. But yeah,
yeah.
it's interesting because I think about all the people I've traveled with, the experiences have been quite memorable, and most of them have been
Mhm.
fantastic. And there've been the odd ones where there've been little bumps along the way, but it's natural to have those, no
Yeah.
doubt
Oh,
about it.
for sure.
It does happen. So
Well, next time we do a girl trip, we'll invite you out.
please do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that means that you'll invite me again another time. Come on, and speak because maybe
Oh,
we'll either end up
100%.
having a great big argument, which will never happen anyway. But
Well,
uh,
so let's stop this here and then we'll think about another theme.
okay,
So as you're listening to this, then write in the comments if there's another conversation that you want to hear about or you want
yeah.
our take on
Actually, I
because
love that idea
yeah,
because if there's something you want to talk about and you want us to sort of,
and give you the
yeah,
down low,
yeah,
give you
because
the
we know
down low.
everything.
Well, yes, we
Or
do,
try to.
Sunny. Yeah.
Well, you
Well,
know everything. I don't really know everything, but it sure is fun.
well, you know quite a bit specifically, and it's interesting because what you do for a living, you're interacting with a lot of people,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and the
So,
interaction with being in radio, like, I mean, it's a career that I've had, it's the only thing I really know. I mean, I started
mhm.
I've been doing it for, when I think about it, in 1980, and I think I said it the last time we spoke.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
been well over 40 years. So
Hmm.
it's really all I really know.
Yeah.
So I think that I am good with relationships and meeting people. I think that the gift that somebody was says, what have you really learned over this, over all these years, is that I have a gift to make people feel um close to me in some way, because so
Yep.
many people I met will come up to me and go, my friend Johnny, da da da, and it's like, I'm not sure who that is,
Yeah.
because I've been able to make that kind of an impression on them that
Yeah.
they'll say, oh, I've known her forever. So it's good, and
Hmm.
sometimes it can be a little bit of a detriment, but it's wonderful. You keep them guessing. It's a surprise every time.
And really what it is like you and I are the same that we really love and care about all humans.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
yeah,
And I'm the same way. And specifically with you as well, with your name, even with my name, people remember it. And so
exactly. It's
yeah,
unique enough that, yeah.
yeah, and that all of a sudden like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, right? And so so catch us next time. There will be another one
Yes,
and maybe we should even do this maybe like once every other month or something like that.
absolutely.
So, well, thank you again so much for coming on,
Thanks
and I
for
look forward
having
to the
me.
next one.
Everybody enjoy the rest of the summer and go away with someone, and we want to hear all about it.
Yes, yes, put it in the comments. Put
Yeah.
it in the comments.
Well, folks, that's a wrap for today's episode of The Root of It All with Tree. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. But before we go, I just wanted to remind you that you can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram. And we will be posting motivational quotes and behind the scenes content that you won't want to miss. You can always sign up to come live while we're filming this, or even join us online through Zoom. We always offer open question and answer after each episode that we don't record, so it's all private, but you can get more involved. So sign up for free at businessgrowthresults.com, and we're going to cover all kinds of different topics that you're not